This might seem totally useless, and you might ask, a thermometer? But this is more than that. It's about the Indian culture and the way we grew up. Hope that brought some nostalgic moments of your life. Anyway, the ride ends here for all fun loving people because from here on the video is going to get little nerdy and take you through a rabbit hole on how I built a digital thermometer using this tiny microcontroller. And importantly, which can last for at least 100 days and with a single cell. Might sound less compared to a commercial thermometer, but considering the amount of customization we can do on the OLED display, this is pretty good. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. There are different sensors to choose from based on the accuracy, type and how they transfer the data to the microcontroller. But I chose the DS18B20 because it's very well designed to read the temperature from an external object and it requires only one wire to read the data from the sensor. Also, this is better for this project because of the metal probe which many sensor doesn't come with. So it would be such a pain to build a custom metal probe to make the contact point. The other major reasons are the sensor is supported by a varieties of library with Arduino and consumes just 1 microampere when it's on sleep mode. And finally, it can read temperature varying from minus 55 degrees Celsius to 125 degrees Celsius. Now to interface this, you can use any microcontroller because the sensor uses a protocol called one-wire, which is totally dependent on the software rather than the hardware. All you need is a single GPIO pin of the microcontroller. Just for the sake of this example, I'll use the NodeMCU. The circuit connection is easy as it gets. Connect the power supply and the yellow data wire to D2 of the NodeMCU. And oh, don't forget this important step. Add a 4.7K pull-up resistor between the 3.3 volt and the data pin. If not, the microcontroller won't read the data from the sensor. From here things get even simpler. Just go to your Arduino IDE and download the Dallas temperature sensor library and one wire library. Once that's been installed, go to your examples and open the simple temperature example and change the pin wherever the sensor is connected to. In my case, it's pin D2, which is GPIO 4. Compile and upload the code. This sensor doesn't instantly show accurate temperature readings, and same goes for a few commercial thermometers. It takes a while to settle down at the correct value. You can also see how this affects in the final build. So for the sake of this video, I have reduced the measurement time to 15 seconds. But in case you need a better accuracy, you can always increase the measurement time in the code. As we can now read the temperature, let's try to display this on the OLED screen. In most of my previous projects, I have used this, and if you like to learn how to use this, I have given the links to my previous projects in the description. Or click on the cards above to get there. So I'll quickly hook up the connections and write a little bit of code for the display. Now we can read the temperature and show it on the OLED display. But this keeps reading the sensor value continuously. I would rather want this to stop reading the temperature after a while and restart when I give some input. For this, you can use a button, but in the intro you would have seen the thermometer is triggered by slamming or smacking. This was way easier to implement than you expect. I neither use complicated sensor nor complex coding. Instead, I used a very simple piezo sensor. This is quite a little interesting sensor. This contains a small crystal between two metallic plates. When the pressure is applied to this crystal, the sensor outputs a small electric current. So we can build a very simple circuit to measure this current and do some task based on the reading. Again, the circuit is very simple. Just build a voltage divider using the 5.6K resistor with the piezo sensor. Then connect this junction to the pin A0 of the NodeMCU. For the code, just do an analog read and display it on the serial monitor. You can see the value changes as we apply varying pressure to the sensor. Now we can add this to our existing circuit and add a threshold to the sensor value inside the code. So whenever the piezo hits this value, the code will reset and the temperature reading will start again. You can see this works exactly as we expected. But this is not the same logic. We'll use the sensor in the final build, but a slightly different approach, which we'll discuss more on later. This is the complete project, to be honest, and nothing more. If you don't care about how it looks, how it's powered, or how long it will last, you can pause the video right here Click on the subscribe button, like the video and drop a comment on why are you being such a lazy ass and not want to do the complex part. But if you do care about all the optimizing and building a good looking project, again, pause the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video and continue watching. Oh yeah, optimization. Let's say we want the whole circuit to work with just a single cell, but this won't be even powerful enough to run the Arduino nor the Node MCU. So there is no way it will run the entire circuit with temperature sensor, piezo and the display. We need an alternative microcontroller which doesn't need much power as well as can run the display, temperature sensor and the piezo with this single cell. This might be too much to ask, but luckily there is a microcontroller which can do all this. Meet the ADTiny85. This is an 8-bit microcontroller with 8 pins and has all the features that we exactly need. Most importantly, this can do all this while being powered by just a single 3.3 volt cell. But it wouldn't hurt if you like to do your own research and find a better efficient microcontroller. Before diving into using other components with this, let's just verify if the current supply by the single 3.3 volt cell is enough to drive all the components. So the cell I'm using is CR2032. This cell has a capacity of 210 mAh and peak current draw of 30 mA. So we have to keep everything under at least 20 mA to work perfectly. ADTiny85 needs little less than 4 mA, running at 3.3 volt at 8 MHz, and the temperature sensor DS18B20 needs 1.5 mA while it's reading the temperature, and the OLED display needs 20 mA displaying all the pixels on the screen. Combine all this together, we are still less than the peak current draw 30 mA. Since we are kind of sure that everything will work with the cell, I built the entire circuit in the breadboard. The complete circuit diagram and the code will be available on my GitHub. While coding this, I made sure I added a few delay in the code, just to add a few splash screens. If you don't like, you can totally ignore it. I've also attached my multimeter to see how much current is consumed by the circuit. By an average, it consumes around 6.5 mA before and while measuring the temperature, and it peaks to 11 mA for a few seconds while displaying the temperature data. You can see the screen turns off and the circuit goes to deep sleep. Here the circuit consumes less than 60 microamp. With the current setup, we can run this for almost 133 days, 100 times a day. If I remove the unnecessary delay and decrease the clock to 1 MHz, we can squeeze in 4 to 5 more days with a single cell. So enough with the theory and math. Let's build the circuit in a perf board. The shape might look a little odd, but this is totally needed design, because later when we start designing the case, we need to reduce the size as much as possible. To shrink it even more, instead of using the dip version of the ADTiny85, I'm going for the SMD version. This shouldn't affect the performance greatly, and at the same time it should give us a very minimal footprint. Other than this, the rest of the circuit is same as what we did in the breadboard. This kinda looks weird now, but once we design the case, it should look pretty good. But before that, let's see how much current does this circuit consume, because I have reduced the clock speed to 1 MHz unlike the 8 MHz when we tested with the breadboard circuit. This seems pretty good. We have cut the circuit power consumption by half. It just takes less than 3 mA during operation and takes 58 microamp during sleep. So with this setup, theoretically we can use this for approximately 140 days. Still, this is great considering everything was off-the-shelf parts and no major modification done to the circuit. I'm really happy how this turned out to be. So let's finish this project now. I've designed the model in Fusion 360. Just let me walk you through steps briefly in a generalized way where you can do it in most of the CAD softwares out there. Initially, the design started with measuring the dimension of the circuit using a vernier caliper and made the model in the CAD. Then I tried to build the case around the circuit model. Then added some shell and split the body. Then added the sensor extrusion and added the fillets. Since I wanted to make the case as small as possible, I tried avoiding any screws or any fasteners. So I added some extrusion on the side to mostly act as a support so the case doesn't wobble. Finally, I made the ring slightly bigger than the sensor and added some draft angle, so it can be easily inserted as well as snugly fit near the fillet. If you like the design, you can check out my GitHub repo. I have the STL files along with the circuit diagram and the code. So the model is ready. Let's print it. I'm using PETG with 0.2 mm layer height, 245 degrees Celsius nozzle temperature and 70 degrees Celsius bed temperature. Even with lower speed, it was harder for me to work with PETG and caused a lot of stringing in the model. Before making the assembly, just make sure to use a little bit of glue or insulation on the solder joint so the piezo doesn't short the circuit. Then place the circuit on the bottom case and close the top case. Now use the ring to close the other side. That's it, we are done. You need to understand, this is no way a suitable replacement for a commercial thermometer. This is just a fun little project where you can learn about electronics and other DIY stuff. And there are plenty of upgrades you can do to improve the project. First, I like the case design, but it's not very sturdy. So a better case design approach would be great. And finally, a proper PCB with all the components arranged efficiently. So if you like the video so far, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Until then, if you have any questions or suggestions, you can drop them in the comment section.